Hi, good morning. It's Marielle Nanasi from New Energy Economy. It's good to be with you today. I wanted to share my screen with you. I have a PowerPoint. Okay, great.
Go.
Thank you so much for your help. So many of you know that New Energy Economy won what was people said was against all odds against the Avangrid Iberdrola PNM $8 billion merger, which was rejected for not being in the public interest. And what I have to say is New Mexico dodged a bullet. Avangrid and Iberdrola could not overcome their own track record of outages and unreliability, of poor, of poor service quality, more than $63 million in penalties and violations in the last 5 years. And they failed to abide by the commission's laws and rules. And the commission held that that was not in the public interest. And the Public Regulation Commission found that these risks and harms were significantly outweighed by any alleged benefits to ratepayers. Now, why did they want to come here? And this is important for where we're going. They wanted to come here and literally Iberdrola and Avangrid testified that they wanted to use PNM as their beachhead. Beachhead is, I actually looked it up, the word, and the definition is, first of all, it's a military term, to land and from where they land, attack. And what they said was, and this is literally a quote from the testimony of the Avangrid CEO, was that they wanted to consolidate all renewable production for their financial growth and export those profits to Wall Street and ultimately Spain. So what we were thinking about was this taught me a lot. So even Iberdrola and Avangrid basically wanted to use PNM and New Mexico as their southwestern platform in the form of a government protected monopoly from which to make more acquisitions and sell our renewable energy for their profit. And what I was thinking about this during this process of the merger case, I thought, well, why should they get access to our renewable energy? And so we have been thinking about public power for a decade or so. And we believe that the sale of that renewable and the benefits from those renewables should fall to New Mexicans, not to out-of-state senior management and out-of-state shareholders. So why public power? First of all, prosperity. Investor-owned utilities export profits to Wall Street, as we said. Public ownership allows those profits to stay in the community, providing jobs, supporting local governments, and reducing rates. Innovation, that's another reason. Public power entities drive innovation. They lower rates and create efficiencies, maximize customer service and safety initiatives. Another one, affordability. On average, public power customers pay more than 10% less than customers of investor-owned utilities. The acronym there is IOU, literally. We owe PNM always. We owe EPE, El Paso Electric, always. Well, what if our rates not only provided electric services for us in the terms of not only what we traditionally think of as electricity usage, but also ultimately expanded that to transportation and housing electrification. And if it was lower cost than what the IOUs are charging. Reliability is another thing. On average, public utilities are more reliable than private utilities. And sustainability. I believe that we could get to 100% renewable energy within 5 years, certainly in Santa Fe and Albuquerque and Las Cruces, and use what is happening at Kit Carson Electric Co-op, which is going to be 100% renewable this year, and essentially scale that up statewide. So what are the different, we filed a joint petition in front of the PRC, the Public Regulation Commission, and we asked them to, 16 legislators asked them to conduct a study. What is the study about? It's a comparative analysis, and that is to compare the status quo with community choice energy and a statewide owned grid with local control. So just to compare them so you can see, today we have PNM, EPE, and Southwest Public Service Company, SPS. Those are our 3 IOUs in New Mexico. They are investor-owned utilities, and they create generation, transmission, and distribution. Generation is the solar, coal, gas, nuclear that they generate electricity. They use those big transmission lines like along I-40, and then the distribution lines are the poles and wires that are outside of our homes. They have no competition, and we are captive customers, and they're regulated by the Public Regulation Commission. What about community choice energy? That would allow municipalities, let's say the city of Santa Fe and the county of Santa Fe would work together and would have a utility, an electric utility, or a tribal entity like Cochiti would have its own utility. And then they would produce the energy, let's say solar and batteries, and we would pay those municipal entities for our electricity. The incumbent utility, in our case PNM, would deliver the energy, and we would pay them a fee to essentially deliver the energy that is produced. With a state-owned grid, we would have the same kind of local control of generation, but then instead of paying PNM, we would pay the state for the delivery of that energy. But in that case, the state would also own the grid and generate its own energy and sell energy to other utilities or tribal entities, or export it. What are the benefits? Oops, sorry, I want to go back. What are the benefits? So the current model has senior management and shareholders making all the money. In the community choice and the state-owned grid, we have different goals. We have clean energy, low prices, reliability, resilience, and local wealth creation. All the money that is made from the revenues from that electricity is repurposed back into the community. And in the situation where the state owns the grid, then revenue from exports contributes to the general fund. And that could be substantial. I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars, many hundreds of millions of dollars. How do we know this? Because if we sold our renewable energy, and this is what we realized, which is why Avangrid really wanted to come here, not to provide electricity for PNM customers and serve us, but they wanted to sell our abundant renewable resources to California and Mexico and any other place that needed extra electric generation, because there is going to be a transformation in the transportation sector and maybe, hopefully, in the housing sector. And those are disruptions. And those disruptions means that there's going to be a lot more electricity needed, but how is it going to be produced? Is it going to be produced the old way, where the investor-owned utility makes all the money and, you know, basically the same 1% is ruling? Or is it going to benefit New Mexico and our local entities? So we need to make this transition. This is a disruption. Obviously, we're facing climate crisis and an economic crisis. And what if we could answer both of those with the same solution, which is public power? This is a graph here that shows what, and this was just filed in December of 2021, just, you know, less than a month ago, in the Public Utility Commission in California. This is their expectation of how much electricity demand is forecasted. And that is that they're going to need over somewhere between 20,000 gigawatts at the low end, or close to 45,000 gigawatts of electricity. So they want clean energy. We want to be able to deliver it. We want to profit from that as a state and benefit. And we want to have local distributed wealth creation for our municipalities and tribes. I'm happy to answer any questions and talk to you about it. But the real important thing is that you get involved. And that is that you go to publicpowernm.org and you can check out what public power is. You can reach out to us. You can become active and join this growing movement. Thank you so much.